Hey guys, so we are fastly approaching the end of the year here, 2024. We are just 2 weeks away from New Year's. And with that, of course, we are heading into part 3 of Legends Fest 2024. So I wanted to do a video, as I do every single year, talking about when I think the character is going to drop and who I think it potentially could be. This year is a little bit more of a question mark, I think, than prior years. Last year, I thought it was pretty obvious it was either going to be just UI Sign Goku or just straight up UI Goku, because they were focusing on universe reps the entire year. 2 years ago, it was also a little bit ambiguous, but not nearly as ambiguous as this year, where they dropped Ultra Goji to Blue. But when we have these big Ultra releases at the end of either Legends Fest or Anniversary, they're not going to be taking risks. They're not going to be taking chances, at least I don't think yet. We're still a few of the mega hype, super elite hype level characters short of being done with every single one of those level of characters being released as Ultras. And I think it's pretty clear to me. I would say you can really narrow it down to like 3 characters who it could potentially be here. I would be shocked if it wasn't one of those 3 characters. I'm going to go through like 5 options who I think it potentially could be. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to like 2 or 3. So first things first, let's quickly just talk about the timing here. So this is the calendar for 2024. We are currently, I'm recording this video on the 16th of December. I think there are 2 potential landing spots for the Ultra. I'm not exactly sure if one is more likely than the other. I'm probably going to say this one is more likely than the other. The first one is the 25th, which is a Wednesday. So this is the first option. I think this is probably the more likely option. And then the second option is the 28th, which is a Saturday. So if we go back and look at the prior 2 Legends festivals, because I don't think it's worth looking at 2021, because 2021 was a Legends Fest that only had 2 parts to it instead of 3. So I don't think going off of that format makes a lot of sense. So we're going to go back to 2022 first. Now, 2022 was when we got obviously the Tag 4s for part 1, we got Vegeta and Trunks for part 2, and then we got Ultra Gogeta Blue for part 3. So the Tag 4s, they dropped on Black Friday in November on the 26th. And then in December, we got Vegeta and Trunks on the 14th. So again, similar timing to when we got part 2 this year with Daima Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And then we had the Ultra Gogeta Blue actually dropped on the 28th. So this is 2 weeks later. This is probably what I expect the pattern to look like this year as well. And if we take a look at 2023, we have the releases. I'll just bring these up so you guys can see, and it's clear here. Part 1 was Transforming Red Beast Gohan, and then of course we had Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku and Evolution Blue Vegeta. Part 2 we had Goku and Bardock, and then part 3 we had Ultra UI Goku. Now part 1 again dropped on Black Friday on the 24th, and then in December on the 13th we had Goku and Bardock drop. That was part 2. So you would look at this and think to yourself, okay, it's pretty clear that if we go off of the 2022 schedule for Legends Fest the prior year, 2023, we're going to get the Ultra dropped on the 27th, but they didn't. They dropped him on the 23rd, which is a Saturday. So that was a little bit of a different outcome there. Now, there is an argument you can make because Ultra UI actually ended up getting leaked like a full 10 days before he dropped or something. It was like a full week or something. I think he leaked on the 16th is when I think he leaked. So like that's essentially us getting a leak for the Ultra for part 3 like right now. But Ultra UI leaked on the 16th. And I think there are people that think that because of the leak, he released earlier than he was supposed to originally drop, which was the 27th. I guess it's possible. I don't think that's probably what happened. I can tell you this for a fact, without going into how I know this. They typically work on characters, whether it's animations, design, kits, up until like literally the very last minute before the character releases. So it seems a little bit unlikely to me that this guy released earlier than originally intended because he got leaked. I mean, is it possible? Sure, absolutely. But I don't think there's any conclusive evidence to say that he released earlier because of the leak, especially given the fact that they really do work on characters literally until like the day before they come out. So, and we've even had evidence of that, right? We saw Rose. Rose's kit, his description in English was literally wrong. And I think the reason why it was like that is because they were probably working on him literally up until like the last day before he dropped, and they just forgot to change the English wording of his kit. It's completely possible. So based off of these past two Legends festivals, we have an the Ultra coming out on the 23rd, which is a Saturday. And then the year prior to that, we have the Ultra coming out on the 28th, which was a Wednesday. So I think that really narrows things down to these two options. We have either the 25th, which to me seems more likely. I guess it's possible he could drop on the 21st. I would probably doubt that. I think or the 28th. Because we've literally seen the Ultra drop on the 23rd last year and then the 28th the year before. I think the 21st is a little too early. I think it's either going to be the 25th or the 28th where he'll drop. Now, I guess the one thing you could say about this is the Ultra last year came out 10 days after the Part 2 character, which would actually be the 21st. But I think the 21st is probably just a little bit too early. We'll see, though. I am targeting the 25th for the number one spot, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Ultra came out on the 28th. But and also, I will say the 28th I actually will not be around, so I'm hoping it comes out on the 25th, but whatever. So those are the two dates I'm expecting. I think 25th is a pretty safe option, but we will see. If they want to release him on a Saturday, maybe that's the case. I don't know, but I think this is the safest pick. So now we can start talking about who I think the potential options are going to be. I don't think there's really anything that's going to be like a super mega surprise to us here. We are not really at that point yet where it's like, oh, no one was expecting them to drop like, I don't know, like Ultra Namek Goku or something. I don't think that's going to happen. Again, for these big celebration Ultra characters for Anniversary and Legends Fest, they typically just tend to stick to the formula that works and they feel comfortable with, because this is the time, especially end of year too, holiday times. This is, I would actually probably say this is probably the biggest release of the year, even more so than the end of the anniversary, at least for them for revenue purposes. I think they probably end up making more money here than they do during the anniversary. It usually is not as reflected, I don't think, in the top grossing rankings, just because every single game is dropping stuff at this time of the year, because this is the time where you make the most money. So this for them, I think, is actually the biggest release of the year. So I think when it comes down to it, again, I'll just start off with three characters I think it potentially could be. Really, there's two that stand above everything else. The first one, as to no one's surprise, I think could be an Ultra Instinct Goku. So the only mastered, quote unquote, mastered Ultra Instinct Goku we have in the game is from the 4th anniversary, this guy. I think it's going to come down to this character, and then I think if it's not Ultra Instinct Goku, I think the other option is Beast Gohan. These are very obvious choices, but again, I don't think they're going to do some like out of left field pick for the Ultra here. I think whoever it ends up being, I would give this like a 90% chance of it being Beast Gohan or Ultra Instinct Goku, either one of these characters for this release here. These guys are like the last two Omega level hype characters that don't have an Ultra in the game. We have all the fusions. We have, you know, some of the, I would say, like mid-tier hype characters like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and Majin Vegeta. All the fusions we have, UI Sign Goku, we have like this. These are really the two last characters, I would say, barring manga characters, that we don't have in the game as like the highest level hype possible in the game. So these seem the most likely to me. And I also would say as well that whoever we don't get out of these two for an Ultra right now, I think is like 90% going to be the Ultra for the 7th anniversary. But we'll see. We'll see. So, I mean, there's nothing really much else I need to say about this. Ultra UI Goku and Ultra Beast Gohan. We can sort of take a look at what they've been doing for this Legends Fest, and to me it seems like the releases more match up with this character. If you look historically at how they handle big celebrations, they always tend to make the teams for these celebrations work in tandem with all the different parts. So like part 1, 2, and 3 of these big celebrations all tend to work well together as a team. And that's usually how they do things, because the goal is they want you to summon on all the different banners throughout the celebration. That's why they do it that way. And for me, I think they've really started to build up God Key, the celebration. I mean, I don't think they did a great job with Rose, to be honest, but we still have 2 God Key characters dropping in part 1. We have 2 Sun Family characters dropping in part 2. I mean, yeah, to me it seems this is the more likely choice out of the two, UI Goku over Beast Gohan. But I wouldn't really say it's like a landslide. I'd probably give this guy, if I was going to say who's the more likely pick, if I knew for sure it was going to be one of these two characters, I'd probably give UI like a 60% chance, and I'd probably give Beast Gohan like a 40% chance. But it's relatively even. But I think the way that they've structured the celebration, right, because actually going into Legends Fest, very unusual situation where Sun Family wasn't like considered one of the better teams in the game, I would say. So they dropped part 2 with double Goku, and then we got some God Key representation in part 1. It was marketed as a future part 1, but it was also almost as equally just a God Key part 1 as well, with the 2 headlining characters. So obviously those characters could work really well with a potential Ultra Instinct Goku. I don't really think Universe Reps, like, people are going to look at this character and they're like, oh, they didn't drop any Universe Reps characters this year, but this guy is on God Key and Sun Family and Saiyans, which, I mean, I wouldn't really even consider Universe Reps to be a team right now. And we've had the most absurd power creep this year that if they really wanted to build up the Universe Reps team again, they would probably need to, like, even if they dropped Ultra Instinct Goku as the part 3 Ultra, they would have to follow this up with like a January Universe Reps, I guess, release, like maybe like an LF Kefla or something, and then like a Zenkai for like Blue 17 or something. And then we can start talking about Universe Reps maybe becoming a thing again. But as it stands right now, I think God Key, Saiyan, and Sun Family with this guy dropping would all be insanely good teams, because he's going to synergize well, you know, theoretically with the other releases during this Legends Fest. Beast Gohan, I think, is just, again, a character on a similar level of hype as we've seen with Ultra Instinct Goku. Sun Family for this guy also is important. They dropped that green Zenkai Trunks, which we still don't know why he dropped. You know, he buffed, well, he doesn't even buff Weapon Wielder, but he's on the Weapon Wielder tag. You're not really going to be using him on Weapon Wielder, but he at least buffs the team by having the tag, I guess. But it's still a very terrible choice because there's no reason why he should have dropped. Even if Beast Gohan drops, I would highly doubt he'll be green, because we got a green character in the first part, we got a green character in the second part. Are they really going to give us a green Ultra? I doubt it. So that Trunks buffing green Hybrid Saiyans really doesn't make any sense. I don't know if that's really going to be like the tie-in that people are expecting to Beast Gohan. Movies is in a pretty good spot still. I think the Turles and Tree of Might Goku combination could be still pretty effective, even though it's not nearly as effective as it was a few months ago. So Beast Gohan could be in a decent spot here, but I think if I had to pick between these two, I would go with Ultra Instinct Goku. And if it is Ultra Instinct Goku, then I think we could say with a pretty high degree of confidence that the 7th Anniversary Ultra, very highly likely it'll be Beast Gohan. Okay, so if we head back over to the character list, the third character I'm going to talk about is going to be Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I think Super Saiyan 4 Goku, we'll just use a normal Super Saiyan 4 Goku instead of full power for now. I think this guy is definitely not on the level of Beast Gohan and Ultra Instinct Goku, but this is a relatively hype character that I certainly think if it doesn't get an Ultra now, we will see in 2025 as one of these like monthly Ultra characters. He definitely seems to be hype enough for that. I would say the only reason why I'm not putting this guy higher up, even though this was stated to be quote unquote the year of GT, is because it would just once again seem like a straight step down from what we got during the anniversary. We got Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta during the 6th anniversary part 3. Are they going to just give us Super Saiyan 4 Goku for the Legends Fest part 3 slot, which is almost just a strict downgrade from the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta release? I remember talking about this back during the anniversary time, and I said if they plan on dropping Super Saiyan 4 Goku as an Ultra this year, I think they would drop him as an anniversary part 3 Ultra, and then they could drop Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta as the Legends Fest Ultra, to sort of have a step up instead of a step down. It never feels good stepping down. It always feels much better stepping up. So I don't really know if they would do that. But then again, the theme of this Legends Fest celebration has been stepping down from the anniversary. That's essentially the entire celebration. So this would kind of be fitting in that regard. But to me, this doesn't seem nearly as likely as like a UI Goku or a Beast Gohan, but I'm going to put him in here because he does kind of fit with the entire year's theme of GT. We've gotten GT releases all the way from January through July, right? July was Omega, and he was the last major GT release we got. We ended up getting the free-to-play Sin Shenron leading up to Legends Fest. We got the Part 1, 1% Sparking, Frieza, and Cell, who was GT, but the only... I guess the last major premium GT release we got was Omega back in July. So it's been a few months, like 4.5, 5 months since we got the last GT major release. So I don't know if they're going to stick with this, but we'll see. And he at least is on the radar for sure. And then we have Full Power Broly, who I'm going to sort of like loop into this 4/5 slot. And the other character I'm going to pull up is Fusion Zamasu. I think Fusion Zamasu could be sort of in the same breadth as a Full Power Broly. They're kind of similar in terms of hype level. I probably would put Broly a little higher than Fusion Zamasu because they could directly tie in Gogeta with this guy. And to me, just him being a Saiyan kind of makes him a little bit more of a target, I would assume, for an Ultra slot here as opposed to Fusion Zamasu. But this is kind of the order I would go in. This guy number 1, Beast number 2, but they're very close. Again, I'd probably give it like maybe even not even 60-40, maybe like 55-45 for UI over Beast, but it's really close. This guy's at the number 3 slot in terms of likelihood, and then I'd go Broly and Fusion Zamasu kind of like as maybe even I would call them fringe picks here. And again, I would say targeting the 25th of December for this. It's Christmas Day essentially, so this is really I think where they're looking at people outside, because in Japan it's not really that big of a thing, right? In Japan, the much bigger holiday in December is New Year's. That's where people get money. Like kids literally get money in Japan for New Year's. It's like it's called otoshidama. It's like a New Year's allowance almost. But this would target the international market, which this game actually does have a much bigger international market than it does have a market in Japan. So this would make the most sense in terms of the actual strategical release for me. But I wouldn't rule out the 28th either, with a fringe chance potentially could be the 21st, but I'm going to target this day and then maybe this day. So that's what I'm thinking. I guess the last thing I'll end with before we wrap up is, could they really realistically save the celebration with any of these releases? Like if they release an Ultra UI Goku, is all of a sudden the celebration saved? I would actually say no. It's very tough to come back from the spot where they're in now because we have like almost zero momentum going into Part 3. I think as important as it is to nail the Ultra release, because they are the single biggest release in these major celebrations, I think the most important part to nail is Part 1. So when you have as lackluster as a Part 1 as they did for this Legends Fest, it is very hard to come back from that. And that's really why I was making a big deal over Part 2 being something a little bit more inspired than what it ended up being, because I don't think Part 2 in a vacuum, if you look at it, I don't think it's bad at all. In fact, I would probably say when you directly compare Anniversary, 6th Anniversary Part 2 with how good the 6th Anniversary was, when you directly compare the 6th Anniversary Part 2 to Legends Fest 2024 Part 2, I would say that Legends Fest 2024 Part 2 was actually a little bit better than the Anniversary. I think people were very I think the Ultimate Gohan pick was a little bit uninspired. I think people were a little bit disappointed by the Ultimate Gohan pick. God Goku was a good choice because I think people were really looking forward to him. They just didn't do him justice. But this Legends Fest Part 2, Daima Goku, Daima, I understand not everybody likes Daima so far, but it is the new thing with Dragon Ball. I think they did a good job with the design of Daima Goku. They did a good job with the design of Tamagami number 3. They set up a good base for the weapon wielder / Daima team. And then Super Saiyan 3 Goku is probably the one people are less excited about because he's yet another Majin Buu Saga release, but he looks pretty cool. I mean, I don't think his LF animation in particular is that great, but he's a good character. He's very, very strong. But I think I would give Legends Fest Part 2 the edge over Anniversary Part 2, but it doesn't matter because of how lackluster Part 1 was for Legends Fest. So the fact that they missed the mark as hard as they did with Part 1, it makes Part 2 shine that much less. And to me, I don't really know if them just dropping like a ridiculously hype character like Ultra Instinct Goku or Beast Gohan for Part 3 could really save the entire celebration, except for one thing. There is one thing they could do to save the celebration, but it's going to be this is a must-have. They must Zenkai this character. If they don't, no matter what they do, this is a prerequisite to this celebration being saved. If they do not Zenkai Goji to blue, they cannot save this celebration. I think they need to do one of two things. No matter what, they gotta Zenkai this character, but then they also have to either drop UI Goku or Beast Gohan. It's gotta be one. It's gotta be one of these two scenarios. Zenkai of this guy plus UI, Zenkai of this guy plus Beast Gohan. If it's a Zenkai of this guy plus Broly, I don't think it's enough. If it's a Zenkai of this guy plus Super Saiyan 4 Goku, I don't think it's enough. If it's a Zenkai of this guy plus Fusion Zamasu, I don't think it's enough. I think it has to be one of these two plus the Zenkai for this character, and that is just simply going off of the hype factor. Of course, any of these characters could be a great release. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just from a pure hype standpoint that will get people excited. These two characters, Beast and UI, are just on a completely different level from like Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Broly and Fusion Zamasu, and I think they've made us wait like even if they Zenkai this guy this celebration, I still think it's way too long. I still think they missed the mark with this character in terms of the timing for a Zenkai. It's been too long. We need this character to Zenkai right now. It's possible that they do the thing that they did with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta this year at the very beginning in January when they dropped his Zenkai in January. It led into a GT celebration in January. I don't know if they necessarily are going to lead into like a movie celebration or something with this, but they could drop this guy's Zenkai in like very early January as like a New Year's thing. And then that could just sort of be the finale of Legends Fest. Maybe they could do the same thing they did with Omega and do like an after party for Legends Fest or something. And then maybe January could be like an after party of Legends Fest. I don't know what they're going to do, but regardless, this guy needs a Zenkai this celebration for this celebration to even have a chance of being saved. This guy must be Zenkai. So I'm going to be looking for that very intently. But that essentially is going to wrap up what I wanted to talk about here. I've mentioned which characters I think are most likely. I've mentioned when I think that they're going to drop in part 3. So you guys can let me know down below what would save this Legends Fest for you, if it even can be saved. It's possible that a lot of people would just think it's impossible to be saved at this point, which I understand. But to me, this guy's Zenkai plus any of these Ultra picks would be enough, I think, probably to save the celebration. Let me know what you think. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.